let's make some delicious raw flax crackers. These are gluten-free, vegan, vegetarian, and totally raw. I'm gonna keep the flavors here just to garlic and onion. If you have some additional basil or rosemary, anything that has a flavor that you appreciate and enjoy, you can chop that up actually really fine. You wanna mince it really fine and add it. I'm gonna keep these to just an onion garlic flavor because I'm gonna be using them with some Italian dishes, with some Mediterranean dishes, and who knows what else I'm going to use these for this week. So I don't want them to have just a rosemary flavor. I want something that's kind of a jack of all trades cracker. So let's get started. This could not be simpler. So we're just going to need a great big bowl here. And in this bowl, we are going to add 1 cup of flax meal. Now, for raw crackers and breads, flax meal can act as a great binder because obviously we're not going to use eggs or flour or anything like that. So flax meal makes for a great binder. We're also going to use 1/4 cup of sesame seeds. I love to use black sesame seeds to mix it up once in a while. I love how in Annie Fio's book she mentions that her grandmother used to tell her that the black sesame seeds would take the gray out of her hair. Anyways, I haven't found that it will do that, but I like the flavor anyways. I'll also mix it up and use poppy seeds once in a while. But just to recap what we have here, we have 1 cup of the flax meal. We have a 1/4 cup of sesame seeds, or you could use poppy seeds or black sesame seeds, but we have a 1/4 cup of sesame seeds. We're gonna add a 1/3 cup of flax seeds that are whole. We're gonna add 2/3 cups of sunflower seeds. And if you prefer, you can soak those overnight and drain the rinse water off and just give them a good rinse and throw them in here instead. These are just regular raw dried sunflower seeds. They have not been soaked overnight, but it tastes great if you soak them too. It actually doesn't matter and you don't have to adjust the amount of liquid or anything. Now we want to go ahead and give this some flavor. So to do that, we are going to, of course, add some salt, but we're also going to add some garlic. So we're going to throw some garlic, and I'm going to cut this onion a little bit. You want about 2 tablespoons of minced onion when you're done. So this looks about right. We'll see what we get if I need to take a little bit out of there. There's just a little brown left on that onion, so let me get that off of there. Okay, so let's get this closed up. And this is just a little mini food processor. I love these things. But the food processor that I love actually has a mini bowl in it. Sometimes I'll use that one too, but that's really fun. Okay, let's just take a look in here. We want to make sure that they're pretty uniform. They start to get a little liquidy at the bottom. That's actually okay for this cracker because it's going to season the whole water of the cracker and dehydrate into the whole batch. That looks good. Okay, perfect. So we have our minced garlic and our minced onion. We're going to toss that into our cracker batter here. Get that all out of there. Put the blade away so I don't cut myself. Okay, and now we are going to add the salt and the water. Now, when we add the water, the flax meal is going to start sort of acting all gluey and sticky. So we want to just make sure that we get the garlic and onion well mixed into everything so that we don't have one area of the cracker that's a really strong flavor and one that's really mild. So I'm going to mix this in really well here. There we go. I'm going to make sure I have plenty of salt. About 3/4 teaspoon of salt. I like my Himalayan or Celtic sea salt, either one. I like it to ground it fresh, so I've gotten pretty good at estimating. If you're not, you can always ground your fresh salt into a bowl and then measure it out after. So again, we're looking for 3/4 teaspoon of salt. And we're going to fold that in really nice. Oh, it already smells delicious. All right. Now, if you absolutely do not like the bold flavor of onion and garlic, you can omit that altogether, and you can instead use a very finely minced zucchini, and that will make a great cracker material for you, and it won't have any bold flavor. It'll be really, really mild. In that case, I would suggest that you take some just dried Italian seasoning or give it a little flavoring of some kind, otherwise it might be a little bit too bland for you. Okay, so once that's all nicely integrated, and you can tell it's integrated because those little sesame seeds give it away. Once you can see them perfectly balanced in the whole mixture, you know everything's pretty well mixed in. Then we're gonna add 1 1/3 cup of water. And once we do that, the flax meal will sort of, like I said, start to activate. It may even get a little bit of a gooey mixture or a gooey look to the water. Now we actually want all this water to sort of absorb in before we spread this cracker batter out on our dehydrator sheet. That usually just takes a couple of minutes. But if you find that you run your spatula through the mixture like that and a ton of water pools, little full-on pools of water, then you know you need to let it sit and make sure that it's all evenly absorbed in there. This actually absorbed really, really quickly. But again, if you get any pooling of water, just let your cracker batter sit 2-3 minutes at the most. It'll all soak in there. And it'll give you this nice battery sort of consistency. So you can kind of see how that looks there. There we go. Okay, now we're going to clear this some space here and make room for our dehydrator sheet. There we go. Need these lovely onions. Okay, now this is just a standard Excalibur dehydrator sheet, and that's how it comes normally. And of course I'm lining it with a little Teflex sheet. These just make sure that it doesn't stick, it doesn't fall through. So anytime you want to do a bread or a cracker, cookies even, you want to start out with a sheet like this. This is just their Teflex sheet. If you don't have an Excalibur dehydrator, the best thing to do is just get a cookie sheet and line it with parchment paper and spread the batter evenly across the parchment paper. I'm going to show you how you want to spread it out here. Not that this is rocket science, it's super easy. You could definitely figure this out on your own. But what I want you to see is the importance of getting it nice and even. So if we just let this get here, it actually would taste fine, but it would take a really long time to dehydrate. So we're going to get it nice and thin. The thinner and the more even, the better it's going to dehydrate. And when it comes to dehydrating these crackers, there's sort of two ways of thinking here, and you may fall on the far right, the far left, or somewhere in between. You can leave a lot of the moisture in so that the bread, it acts more like a bread and it's pliable. That way if you go to take a bite of it, you're making a sandwich with it, it doesn't crack and you end up with flax cracker everywhere instead of having it hold in the delicious fixings on your sandwich. Or you can dehydrate it to a crispy, crispy crunch. Now, a lot of people confide in me that they really miss the crunchy texture of crackers and chips and that sort of thing when they're on a raw diet. No reason. There are plenty of recipes that will give you that crispy crunch. As a matter of fact, on the site we have a great recipe for tortilla chips, corn tortilla chips made with organic frozen corn, well, fresh corn if you can get it. So there's just no reason for you to go without that crispy, satisfying taste. So I'm just working here. As you can see, I kind of mush it back in. You do want it to have a relatively fine edge so that you don't have any crackers on the edge that, you know, are kind of mangy looking and don't look so fabulous. And then I just gently pull the batter across. Again, I tap in the edges. Super easy. Once I have it spread nice and evenly, I'm going to pop this in the dehydrator, and I'm going to put this on 105 probably. Yeah, 105. Obviously you don't want to get up over 115 degrees, but 105 will do it. And then you'll just pop it in there and let them dehydrate. It does all the work. You can even put these in overnight and they can dehydrate overnight. They're definitely going to be crispy though. The other thing that people complain to me is sometimes challenging with their crackers is that they say it's so hard to flip it over. I can't get the Teflex sheet off the back side. I'm stressing out over they're getting holes in their crackers and this and that. You know what? You just got to be patient. When the cracker batter is dry enough, the Teflex sheet peels right off the back, just like a sticker, just like the back of a sticker. If it's gooey and sticky and it seems like, you know, part of the batter is still staying on there, it's just not dry enough. Just put it back in the dehydrator and maybe warm the temperature up, 108, 110, and let it rip in the dehydrator for a while longer. And then once it's dry enough, it peels off super, super easy. So that's pretty good. I won't wait for you to have me be a total perfectionist here, but I can't help it. So we're gonna get this in the dehydrator. Now you can see when you look at the edge here, this is really, you know, I'm going for a real uniform thickness. I don't want this to be all lumpy in some places. Again, it's just because then some part of the cracker is gonna be really dry and some of it is gonna be still very, very moist. So we want a nice even batter. And that's that. We're gonna pop this in the dehydrator. We're gonna wait for this top side to be dry to the touch, and then we're gonna check it by just simply trying to peel the corner of the Teflex sheet away. If it looks like it's not coming off and it's sticky, we're gonna leave it back in there. Once it is dry to the touch, we're going to, let me show you a quick trick. We are going to top it with another Teflex sheet like this, hold the two trays together and flip them over, okay? When we flip it over, that's the time to cut it. So you're gonna take a pizza cutter and cut it into pieces that you want. When I do these, I do 3 lines both directions, so I end up with 9 squares, about the size of a slice of bread. And I do two batches. I take half of them out, and I let them be a little bit pliable so I can use them for sandwiches, and then I cut the rest in half again, so I end up with narrow crackers. So I'll show you what the finished products look like when this is all done. Okay, I'm just gonna show you how to flip these over so you can see what's going on. I know this is ready because when I go to peel this off, it looks like it comes off real easily. So I know it's ready, so I'm gonna set another sheet on top and invert the whole thing. I'm gonna remove the tray, and then the Teflex sheet. And look how simply and easily that comes off. That's how that works. If you have, if you're having to use a knife and sort of get all the goo off and there's a lot of batter still on your Teflex sheet, then you just need to throw that thing in the dehydrator and let it dehydrate some more. There's a little tiny bit that I was able to scrape off there. I'm just gonna go ahead and mash that in there so it's nice and smooth so I don't waste anything. And then I'm gonna score these. You don't have to cut all the way through. Just do your best and just score them, and then they'll break really easily. Now I like to score them both ways first and then go back and cut them in half. Totally up to you. You could make these as big or as small as you want. I'll show you what I do here. Half of the tray I'm gonna leave here like this. These are about 3" by 3" squares. And then the other side, I cut in half again. And what that does, it gives me some narrow crackers and it gives me some larger pieces that I'll use more like a bread for a sandwich. So just give you a good view of that again. So this side I cut in 3 by 3 pieces, and this side I cut those half again. Not both ways, but just half again one way, so I have some longer rectangles there. Hopefully you can see that. Now we're gonna pop these back in the dehydrator. Again, there's no Teflex sheet on the bottom. These are gonna go back in the dehydrator until they're nice and crisp. What I'm probably gonna do is go ahead and take half of these out as soon as these are dry to the touch on the top and use those as a pliable bread, a nice delicious seed bread. And then the rest I'm gonna leave in the dehydrator until they're crispy and crunchy. So that'll satisfy my urge for crackers. I will show you the finished product as soon as they are ready to go. So these are the crackers once they're dehydrated. I'm gonna go ahead and show you the pliability of these here. See, they come apart real easy. All we did was score them with the thing. Now this one is pliable enough that I can treat this as a bread. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the big ones off of the plate and make sure that they're separated pretty well here. Just scoring them with the pizza cutter does a great job. You usually don't have to do too much more. But we'll pull these off of here. Okay, so I'll store those separately and those will be nice and pliable. Now with the rest of them, I'm just gonna spread them out and let these stay in the dehydrator a while longer, and these will just get nice and crispy, and these we will eat as crackers later in the week. Well, anytime you want a little snack, you always have some nut cheese lying around or some tzatziki sauce or some raw hummus. These make for a great snack treat. Okay, so the rest of them, I just spread them out on the dehydrator tray a little wide apart so they'll get even more air going through them, and these will be crispy in another hour or so. So I'll leave these to get crispy, and we will go ahead and enjoy these delicious breads anytime we like.